Thank you very much for the introduction, Elena. So yeah, basically I'm going to talk about working with spatial data from zero because this is something kind of new for our company. So uh, this is the a little bit of the agenda. First, I'm going to make a brief introduction about me and the company. Then what we did before having a geospatial data science, and then what problems or mistakes can you have working with this data. So, well, as says Alana, I'm Alexander, data science from Securitas Direct. I'm graduated at mathematical engineering. I'm currently doing a master's degree. And yeah, my main jobs are probably the same as you: analysis, dashboard, building predictive model, and contribute with ideas to the business. Um, our company, Securitas Direct, is based on Malmo, Sweden, and it was established in 1988 as part of the Swedish group Securitas. But our company is kind of a sub-branch that started in Madrid, and it became the main part of the business since then. And you maybe know us in your country as Very Sure instead of Securitas Direct. It's kind of brand name. It can be more engaging depending of the country. And since 1995, my birthday, um, we started expansion internationally, and we are active in 16 countries. So what we did before with geospatial, having a geospatial data science? Well, we were lost. So what you do when you are lost is you ask for help. And this is when we met Carto. And basically we had meeting with them and said, okay, we have this data that is about our sales agents. They go through the street doing doorstep selling. We also have information, and they have one app in the smartphone that they can check. Okay, I'm here, and every time they go to visit a client, they they check. So after a few meetings, we decide that the very first application we want to do, because it can be really useful, is having a heat map. So other sales agents are not in the same area or not go to the same area days before or days after. And yeah, this was kind of the start. But then um, I joined the team, and after a year within the company, I went through the data and I saw that it started to be to find coordinate the data. So uh, I basically said to the team, we have to use this data because I think there are a lot of potential analysis right here. So what are some problems or mistakes I find during my journey? First, correct order or latitude and longitude. Maybe it's not something that looks like really problematic, but you can change from being to Madrid in El Retiro to be in the middle of the ocean. And it doesn't apply only to your data, but maybe also to the libraries or APIs you are working with, because maybe you are using GeoPandas and it says first latitude, then longitude, but then you try to change to another one and you have to change the order of the data. Another thing that is also important, but you normally are going to see really quickly, is use the current reference system. If you are from Europe, you'll probably use this too. World Geodesic System from 1985 or the EPGS, yeah, 4326. Also, the unit of data is very important to check if you are using the correct one, whether it's the coordinates or if you are working with measures or distance. Also, if you are from a English country or from a Spanish country, you may use kilometer or miles or meter, feet, yards. So you have to be very careful with that because it can change a lot. And also, a really common mistake is not reading the documentation because you, as a data science, you just search your problem on Google, then you go to Stack Overflow and you just copy and paste the solution. But an actual real example for our business is I wanted to do something similar that we have with Carto before, but we wanted to see how many times a sales agent went to a visit. So basically, our problem was you have this point where is the sales agent, then this visit. So to avoid any problem, I want to make a radio from the visit and make a buffer of 100 meters. So uh, you avoid that is not precise. But if you read here closely, you see that it doesn't say the distance is in meters. So the actual solution I have to go through is change the coordinate system, apply the function, and then you can use your system again. If you're not with this system, you maybe use another one. But yeah, it's really easy to check. Uh, Another related with this is measuring the distance, but it's also with reading documentation. If you're not used to work with a globe as the Earth, sorry, Earth, you may not know that Euclidean distance is not the common one. You have to use harvesting distance because as data science, we love sklearn, but you also need to watch out because uh, it's not always the first option you have to go through. And if you see this example that is actual from their documentation, you see everything we said before as working with radians. Also, the result you multiply to get 2 kilometers. So yeah, you have to be very careful with everything. And also, maybe you have already worked with your data, but you want to complete a little bit more because you find that you have the direction, but you don't have the coordinates. So you said, I'm going to use geocoding to complete my coordinates and my data. But something that happens here with the Spanish speakers countries, and I'm sure it happens to English countries speakers, is you may use the main name for the same name for cities, street, etc., etc. So, for example, I want to search Guadalajara, which is like a city here in Spain, but it's also a city in Mexico. So you need to be careful with this. One trick to be sure that you are taking the real one, the good one in your case, is if you have the polygon of your country or some area bigger than what you are looking for, is make a merge, a spatial merge, and if it's within this area, then is the good one. If not, then drop this data because it's not the good one. And and yeah, and an extra tip I want to give you is there are also a lot of open source libraries as GeoPandas. Uh, but another one that is very useful if you need to clean coordinates is DataPrep that has this function, which is clean lat long. And yeah, I sorry because I forgot to translate Restovia, but basically you can say like it's bad data as you see below because it's coordinate, but it has some mistake as you can see there because it says like house, then an interrogation mark. So if you apply this function, basically it cleaned the data and it put in columns like already clean. It's not perfect as you see over there because it was unable to clean about 5.6% of the data. But I still think it's a really good option if you want to go like to a fast way. So yeah, it was everything for me. Sorry if I was a little bit fast or something. I was a bit nervous, but yeah, that was everything on me. If you have any question, let me know. Let me know.
Awesome. That was perfect, Alexander. You helped data science folks who might already be using open source libraries like GeoPandas or sklearn avoid some of those mistakes that leave you looking at your computer for hours only to realize you just mixed up the lat long. So good tips to look out for in other open source libraries to avoid those, like data prep. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
We do have time for a few questions from the Q&A. So we have someone saying, I'm new to working with spatial data. How do you perform cross-validation on spatial data sets? Or is there a special procedure required to do so?
Yeah, one time I had to do, and it was a bit messy because actually you mix some libraries because I had to mix sklearn, then apply some function, as I said, with the distance. But yeah, basically to do cross validation is search. Well, I cannot say the specific steps because I forgot already. But yeah, as data science, you basically go through Google, then Stack Overflow is your friend. But yeah, basically it was a mix between sklearn and GeoPandas and some pre-process that you do. Yeah.
Yeah, Stack Overflow really is your best friend. So
Yeah.
you're spot on there. But you hit you hit some good points in your presentation about sometimes like when you're working with unknowns like spatial data, you just have to stumble through it to really learn it. And it can be really daunting to get involved with spatial data. So someone in the chat asks, do you have any recommendations to just get going? Because you can kind of have the paralysis of it. It's kind of scary to get started.
Yeah, this was one of my problems in this company that I was new to this data too. So I'm really used to be like to learn from myself and from internet, and it's something that you have to go through every time. You just need to, when you start with this type of data, you start to see the good vocabulary that you need to find, that you need to search in Google to find the correct answer. Because first time I was like, okay, I know pandas, but it will be something similar for this data. So I was like spatial data, Python. Then I found GeoPandas, and then I started to make some example. Then I said, okay, that data pane I found luckily like, is there a way to clean data? But GeoPandas, I think it was more like why I can make merge of data but not spatial data. I think it has to be something. So yeah, probably if you think about something, uh, it is gonna be already done in the internet. So you just need to search and maybe search again with a different question, because maybe you're not using the same vocabulary, the good vocabulary that you're thinking. Yeah, that is the good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good really good trick, as you can go down some Google rabbit holes if you're just Googling the wrong thing and you're off by one little word. So,
Yeah.
but I think that's all we have time for today. We really appreciate your tips and tricks and how you kind of got into the geospatial world. Again, this